breaking in here to earlier than usual before we come on air. We have some urgent, immediate news. If you are in downtown Newport, you are being asked to evacuate. The county mayor there telling us that the Waterville Dam has suffered what he is calling a catastrophic failure. Anyone who is along the Pigeon River, if you're along the French Broad River, you're being asked to evacuate right now. The water from North Carolina that got a lot of water earlier today from the system of Helene is now making its way through the river down towards Newport, and both those rivers are nearing all-time crest records. This is a very serious situation. If you have friends or family that live in the area along the rivers of the French Broad or the Pigeon River, please be sure to get them out immediately. We've already gotten a lot of images today of severe flooding in Cocke County around those areas, the area of Wilton Springs. Now, the county mayor, Rob Mathis, urging people to evacuate, to get out. There is a shelter open at the Newport Community Center. We're told that's on Prospect Avenue for anyone who needs to go there. For those living north of Wilton Springs, the Liberty Church in Cosby, the designated evacuation center for anyone living south of Wilton Springs. Now, we're keeping a close eye on how this weather is affecting all of East Tennessee, and we are seeing a lot of road closures because of this flooding. I-40 in North Carolina, near the line there for Tennessee, you can see that is closed. We are hearing that part of the road has washed away, so we are working to get more details on that. But you're taking a look at our traffic maps. You can see here in the eastern portion as you head toward Asheville, where they are seeing a massive amount of flooding this afternoon. That is just inching up into the Newport area. Now, we've seen a lot of flooding in Hartford. Mark Nagy with TDOT sharing photos earlier that both the on and off ramps there at the Hartford exit are underwater. There is no way to get in and out of that area. Again, if you are just joining us, it is important that anyone living on the French Broad River or the Pigeon River in Newport evacuate immediately. This includes the downtown Newport area. There's a lot of offices, city buildings. The jail is there. I know city officials there have been working to make sure they do evacuate people in that area all day long. It is imminent that you evacuate now. The Waterville Dam, which is on the North Carolina side, has suffered a catastrophic failure. We do want to get to our Jacob Durham, who has been monitoring all afternoon. Jacob, what are you seeing as far as all these rainfall totals?
Yeah, see, really the areas that are over into the foothills and mountains, those are the hardest hit locations. Now, this isn't going to be necessarily an accurate representation to the T of how much rainfall has fallen, but a pretty good idea of what we are dealing with across the foothills and the mountains. Anywhere you see that red and that orange shading, that is indicating rainfall totals maybe 5 to as much as 10 inches. I've kind of plotted a few of those areas in and around Newport, about 5 inches of rain. Some locations could see more than that by the time it's all said and done. Now, thankfully, most of the rain is kind of coming down or coming to an end, but we're seeing all of that now flowing down the mountains, down the rivers. I've plotted a few areas over on the North Carolina side as well, indicating 4 to maybe as much as 5 inches of rain. Most of these totals are probably a little bit higher. We're looking through the mountains once again, so the radar is estimating what it can see, but likely those numbers are probably double, if not a little bit higher than that, especially on the North Carolina side. But once again, anywhere you see that orange and that yellow kind of shading, that's as much as 10 to maybe as much as 12 inches of rain, and this is since Tuesday. I do want to show you the current river levels. This is from the Pigeon Forge. This is from NOAA USGS. You can see that it is forecasted to crest. Once again, this is Pigeon River in Cocke County. The record crest is 23.4 feet. Right now it is at 22.58 feet and rising. It is forecasted to crest later on this afternoon and as we head through the overnight and into our Saturday. This is a look at the French Broad River. It's got a little bit more ways to go. The record there is 24 feet and is forecasted to crest right around 23 feet. Now, of course, this could fluctuate a little bit, especially with that dam failure that we are seeing. So if you are in the Newport community, you need to go ahead and evacuate to those safe places as we speak. It is imminent, as Casey just mentioned, but this has got a little ways to go. This is not going to crest until we head into our Saturday. So a lot of rainfall still out there to kind of come down those mountains. Thankfully, we're beginning to dry things out. Shouldn't add too much more rainfall there, but the damage is already done, and that's why we're seeing some of those issues there, especially across portions of Cocke County near Hartford.
All right, Jacob, thanks for keeping us updated on that. And of course, the big concern now with those rising water levels for the rivers is the Waterville Dam breaking, the catastrophic failure there, not keeping any of that water, not slowing any of it down. We want to take you to some of the photos and videos that our crews have gotten from Cocke County today. This is in the Wilton Springs area. Now, this is just a couple hours ago. You can see that the water already up along these houses. It is rushing water now that is going through the rivers. You can see what that is, a fence usually, and you cannot see the yard of this home at all. These are the homes that were asked to evacuate, to leave earlier today. Now it's even more serious if you are anywhere near the vicinity of downtown Newport. We're talking about these crest levels getting all-time high. This is historic flooding that we are seeing here in the Newport Cocke County area. You can see here it's hard to tell what is the river and what is not the river. A lot of rushing water there, fast-moving water. We've had a couple of cars that had to be rescued out of this floodwater earlier today. A dump truck even tried to make it through to try to rescue one of those cars, and the waters were so strong it washed away the dump truck as well. So you're seeing just how high that water is to the top of the cab of that truck. This is all in the Wilton Springs area of Cocke County. Now, if you do live in these areas, if you need a place to go, there is a shelter open at the Newport Community Center on Prospect Avenue. That's for if you live north of Wilton Springs. The Liberty Church in Cosby designated as the evacuation center for anyone living south of Wilton Springs. The Tennessee Department of Transportation also been out in the Hartford area. Here's a look at that dump truck here that I was just talking about. You can see it tries to make its way through the water, and it's too strong. Those waters are too strong for even a dump truck a size of that magnitude to get through there. So this is why the evacuation is so important, because even the best emergency equipment that they have is not going to be enough for some of these floodwaters. So it's important that you check on your friends and family who live in this area. Make sure they are getting to higher ground and getting to safety. Now, this situation is changing by the minute, and we are keeping a close eye on it. We've got 2 crews that are in Newport area right now, but we are waiting for them to get to safety before we go out to them. That is the most important thing right now. Both rivers right now, as Jacob just pointed out, nearing that all-time crest level, and that situation is exacerbated, of course, by the Waterville Dam that has now suffered catastrophic failure. We've been keeping a close eye too, and we've got our producer Kellyanne in the back there. I've got a couple other videos here on my Facebook page. If you want to kind of scroll down, Boone, North Carolina was also one that we saw right here. This was earlier today. This is the downtown area of Boone, North Carolina. So all of these rivers, the rivers that are in the North Carolina area, this is all the rain that they were getting this morning. Now that is coming down the rivers, and what we're seeing in Newport, and that is the concern, is what the flooding that we're seeing now. Do not do what these cars are doing. Do not drive through any type of standing water. I have another video here I want to show you, and it's from Mark Nagy's TDOT. If you scroll up a little bit, yeah, it's right here. This is the Hartford exit. Sorry about that being a little bit small. That's my fault the way I uploaded it. But if you're taking a look, this is the Hartford exit, and you're seeing just all that water right there. The on and off ramps in Hartford, you can't see them. They're underwater. And so you're seeing those trucks trying to get through. See that stop sign there? That's how high the water is. This was just a couple hours ago. The Hartford area, for those of you joining us not familiar, is in Cocke County, kind of the last little town before you get to the North Carolina side there on I-40. This is where a lot of the rafting happens there on the Pigeon River. And so this is really taking a lot of water into the parking lot area, onto the on-ramp area. Mark Nagy with TDOT sharing these photos earlier today, asking drivers to avoid this area. If you don't have to be out, please do not be out. Please make sure that you are in a safe space, that you are at higher ground. If you are in the downtown Newport area, that's definitely the main concern right now, is the Waterville Dam that has suffered catastrophic failure. They are now asking evacuations for everyone in that area, and that is something that we are keeping a close eye on as well. Now, we do want to get to our Will Puckett, who is in the WVLT newsroom gathering more information for us at this hour. And Will, I know you're very familiar with this Waterville Dam. Can you tell us more about it and why this is so catastrophic that it's now failed?
Yeah, Casey, according to Cotton County Mayor, that's indeed what has happened. We have reached out to Duke Energy. I talked to a representative who told me they had not heard anything about this just yet, but said they would gather information, and we are currently waiting a call back from Duke Energy, who owns the Waterville Dam. The reason why we know so much about this dam is because First Alert meteorologist Ben Cathy and I did a series of stories about the Pigeon River and what used to be a very flooded stretch of it from about the North Carolina state line until it meets with the French Broad. But that Waterville Dam, some people might also know it as the Walters Dam. For a little bit of an idea of where this just is, think if you have ever whitewater rafted in Hartford or in Cotton County, it is where almost every single whitewater rafting group drops their boats off right there at the Waterville hydroelectric plant right there on the North Carolina-Tennessee state line. You're talking right at that Haywood County side. You see that power plant off to your right, and then the left is the boat ramp where they put a lot of those whitewater rafters in. That's the area we're talking about. But if you head up the Pigeon River, probably I want to say half a mile, maybe a mile, there is the Waterville or the Walters Dam. Our Ben Cathy, who I talked to just a little bit ago, says they're synonymous. They're the same thing. That's where Mayor Rob Mathis says there has been a catastrophic failure. A ton of water from Waterville Lake or Lake Waterville, it's a switching term, is all that water that's held from behind there. I reached out to Duke Energy earlier because that became a spot that I was starting to worry about. We know there are pieces of the Pigeon River that have actually washed out Interstate 40 on the North Carolina side. And so, Casey, I reached out to Duke Energy earlier. They told me, and this came across at about 1:30 this afternoon Eastern time, Duke Energy currently has all gates open at the Waterville Dam and continuing to pass water flow. Hurricane Helene produced heavy waterfall over the past 48 hours. Much of the Carolinas, both the dam and the floodgates are performing as expected. These are pictures that we received from Duke Energy when we did our story just about 2 years ago. That statement, Casey, goes on to say, we urge people living along our lakes and rivers or in flood-prone areas to use caution, stay informed, and pay close attention to changing weather and stream flow conditions. They go on to say lake levels are available at all times at duke-energy.com. Again, Casey, this is the Walters or Waterville Dam. It's interchangeable. It holds back Lake Waterville. We don't know exactly how much water is in that lake, but we have reached out to Duke Energy, Casey. We're waiting to hear back from them, but they told us earlier at about 1:30 this afternoon, Walters Dam or Waterville Dam was performing as it should, but now Cotton County Mayor Rob Mathis says it is breached, and if you live in Newport, you need to get out immediately.
Yeah, and this is something that they've been keeping a close eye on as well. I mean, this is something we've been in a drought, so they didn't expect these levels to get where they are. And now we're seeing this. We're seeing a lot of that delayed flooding. Also, Will Puckett, thank you so much, of delayed flooding from the North Carolina side because their rain totals have also been massive since the Helene system moved through. So we've been keeping a close eye. We've seen some of the damage already in North Carolina, in Asheville, in Boone. And then as you get closer to us here in Tennessee, Cotton County seeing those effects, Hartford area as well as the Cosby area in downtown Newport now. So that is something that we are going to keep a close eye on as we're continuing to monitor this ever-changing information. Now, the good news here is that we're hearing that a lot of people are heeding the evacuation warnings. We're hoping that is the case. There have been a couple people our crews have seen in some of these shelters already today. So we are hoping that people are getting out and getting to higher ground as we are continuing to monitor this situation. Let's go ahead and show you kind of an idea of where this is happening. If we can take our maps to show you where the Waterville Dam is, Will saying also it's known as the Walters Dam. This is just near the I-40 area where we're seeing a lot of that flooding in the Hartford exit. We showed you some of that video where the on-ramps and the off-ramps are impassable. You cannot drive through them. There is so much water there on the roads, and that is really hard to navigate and to get to these people who need to be rescued because of how high the waters are. And Jacob, you were saying you had some of the North Carolina rain totals.
Yeah, this is coming from, of course, our radar estimate. This is from Tuesday, but look at these totals, and some of these could be even higher than that. We just showed you Boone, North Carolina, what Main Street, King Street, you can walk up and down all the shops there in Boone. Look at that. Rain totals accumulated of maybe 14 to as much as 20 inches of rain over the last several days. So this is why we are seeing so many issues. Of course, we talked about part of I-40 there between North Carolina and Tennessee being washed out. This area got hit very, very hard. It's seen persistent rainfall over the last 3 days with little in the way of relief. So not only from Helene, but also that cold front and that stalled front that kind of draped across the region, continuing to pummel this area up towards Grassy Creek. That's about almost 16 inches of rain of accumulation. Down towards Asheville, a foot of rainfall possible. I've seen reports from UNC Asheville's campus as well as portions of Appalachian State's campus of issues that are ongoing. So that's why we are seeing so much of this. And kind of going back into home, you can see where some of the rainfall totals are the greatest there. In and around the Hartford community, granted, this is radar estimated and it's got to look up through the mountains. So these are probably underdone, probably by several inches. I do think that we've probably seen anywhere between 7 to as much as 10 inches of rain on that North Carolina side, right where that accumulation total of 4.2 inches. That's probably closer to 7 to 10 inches, and that's pretty close to the Waterville Dam that we're seeing. And even across portions of Newport as well as Hartford, radar estimates anywhere between 5 to 10 inches of rain has fallen, and that's why we're seeing those issues. And if we go ahead and take a look at the Pigeon River, this is before the dam failed. We got word of that. You can see that it's projected to crest right around 23 inches or 23 feet, and the record is 23.4. So we're going to be pretty close to that as we head over, say, the next 6 to 12 hours. And that's the Pigeon River in Cott County. Now, if we look at the French Broad River, you can always get the latest information on these river levels, NOAA.USGS. These are continuing to rise. This is the French Broad in Cott County. Record is 24 feet. It is projected to crest at 23 feet as we head into early on your Saturday morning. So something to keep in mind, even though the rainfall is kind of tapering off, these water levels are going to continue to rise and be a serious issue for us. Casey.
Is the main concern why they are asking everyone to evacuate, especially because of the failure of that dam. And Jacob, we're just now getting some breaking news into the newsroom. The Cott County mayor officially declaring a state of emergency for Cott County. So hopefully that means there will be some state resources that can step in and help. This is a serious situation, and as Jacob mentioned, those levels are just expected to rise. So kind of to debrief here, anybody who needs a place to go, they've got a couple shelters here in Newport. The first one at the Newport Community Center, that's on Prospect Avenue, and that's for anyone living north of Wilton Springs. The Liberty Church in Cosby, now designated as the evacuation center for those south of Wilton Springs. So anybody that needs a place to get out, that is where you can go. Our coverage continues.
WVLT News begins now with breaking news.
And we do want to just refresh you here at the top of our 3:30 hour, going on a little bit earlier than we usually do, as evacuations are now being asked for people living in the downtown Newport area because of a failed dam. The Waterville Dam, also known as the Walters Dam. We're being told by the Cott County mayor that it has suffered a catastrophic failure. This is serious for those living in the Newport area. There's a lot of offices, government officials, the jail, the courthouse, all right there along the river in downtown Newport. And they're asking anyone in that area to please evacuate and get to higher ground. We wanted to show you some video that we got earlier today from the Cott County area on our, I have it posted there on my Facebook page, but you're seeing a lot of places underground. This is from Mark Nagy, actually. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Those are street signs. You're seeing water up to the street signs. That's got to be at least 5 feet in some of those areas. You're seeing a building halfway underwater. This is in the Hartford area. This is I-40 at the exit there. Look at how high that water is. And then behind it, you're seeing the actual river rushing. And that is what is so dangerous, is how quickly these waters can move, especially when a dam breaks. Now, a lot of this water coming from North Carolina, as they got a ton of rain today, and that is now moving downstream to East Tennessee. And this is what we are seeing. Water going so high that you can't even see some of the street signs all the way to the stop sign. You can see the I-40 East on and off ramps completely covered by floodwater. I don't think I need to say this, but do not try to drive through anything that looks like this. Unfortunately, we have had some people try to do that, and they have tried to rescue them. Let's take a look here. This is where we're getting a lot of information from the Cott County Mayor, Rob Mathis. He posted there not too long ago that he is officially declaring a state of emergency for Cott County, Tennessee. This is after he declared the emergency update of the Waterville Dam suffering a catastrophic failure. This, of course, all due to Helene and all of the rain that we have gotten. And we do want to get to meteorologist Jacob Durham, who has been tracking all of this for us today. And you're tracking those rainfall totals as well.
Yeah, that's right, Casey. Helene definitely packing a punch. It may not have been a hurricane when it moved into East Tennessee, but it sure left its mark on us as we saw heavy rainfall across portions of the North Carolina mountains. Live look at the radar and cloud track. You can see the spin as it's racing off towards the north and the west with time. Now it's going to slow down, and what that's going to do is eventually throw us at least some scattered showers back into the forecast as we head into our Saturday. Nothing nearly as heavy as what we're dealing with right now, but the areas that have been battered over and over for the last couple of days have been across the North Carolina mountains, up there into portions of Boone, back down towards Asheville. Anywhere along the Blue Ridge is where we've been getting very heavy rainfalls as well. I want to zoom in, and then we'll kind of take a look at some of those rain totals for you on what we're looking at. You can see there are some scattered showers around in and around Knoxville. They're kind of lifting off towards the north and east with time. Heavy rainfall, though. There's flash flood warnings out for portions of Cocke and Sevier counties. Of course, we do have that flood warning for that dam failure that is in there for Newport, and then even more flash flood warnings as you're heading up towards the Tennessee-Kentucky line. With that being said, I want to show you the last 24 hours in terms of the rainfall. I'm actually going to customize this so I can show you the last couple of days as well, because some of those heavy totals are now really beginning to kind of pick up there along portions of the North Carolina mountains, and that's why we are, of course, dealing with such big issues there. So I'm actually punching the numbers back all the way until Tuesday. That's when all this rainfall started. Anywhere you see these orange colorations, that's indicating anywhere between, say, as much as 10 to maybe 12 inches of rain. And remember, it doesn't look like it's rained a whole lot over there towards Asheville, Purchase Knob, or on the North Carolina side, but that's because it's shooting through the mountains. That's because of how things are looking right now. And this area right here easily picked up anywhere between, say, 10 to 15 inches of rain over the last 3 days, and that's what we're seeing across areas of the North Carolina mountains as well. I actually kind of question and kind of put a question mark and show you how much these rain totals are suggesting. 18 inches of rain potentially. This is radar estimated. Some of these numbers could be higher. Some of them could be a little bit lower, but you get the idea of just how much rainfall we're seeing across the region. I also want to talk about the river levels that are continuing to rise, especially across Cott County. This is the Pigeon River. This is from NOAA, the USGS. You can look these up yourself online if you're looking to see when the river levels are going to crest and just how high they'll go. But this is forecasted to crest right around 23 feet. The record is 23.4 feet, and right now it is sitting at 22.58. It's easily possible this goes a little bit above it, and we set record levels. You can see just how quickly it's risen. This was from early this morning till now. It's basically shot straight up because of all the heavy rainfall that we've been seeing. Now let's take a look at the French Broad River across portions of Cott County as well. This has got a little bit more ways to go. Right now, currently sitting at 17.64 feet as of when I took this screenshot. It is going up to 23 feet is the forecasted river height, and the record there is 24 feet. So this is a very serious issue that we're continuing to see, not only with the river levels, but also with some of the rainfall. The good news is I think a lot of the rainfall that we've been seeing earlier today, at least the widespread coverage, is going to turn a little bit spottier as we head throughout the rest of the afternoon and through the overnight hours. Still can't rule out some of those stray showers, but really those rain totals are going to come back down now. But we've got to get all that water that has fallen out of the mountains back down river, and that's why we're seeing so much of these issues across portions of Cott County. And now, of course, the Waterville Dam on the North Carolina side of the mountains beginning to show those signs of catastrophic failure, as the mayor of Newport has alluded to. And also make sure that if you are in Newport, that you go ahead and seek immediate shelter, evacuate downtown Newport as we speak. Of course, Casey and our own Brittany Tarwater's continuing to follow the latest as well.
Yeah, Jacob, thank you for that data. It's something that we're following closely. We're also in contact with some of the other local officials. Newport's not the only town or city seeing some issues. We've also got Upper East Tennessee, Unicoi County. We're told there a hospital basically underwater and there are people stranded on the roof. Now we do have some information here if we want to. I think Brittany, you have some of that information. Let's get to our Will Puckett right now while we gather some of this information. And Will, what are you learning right now? What new information do you have for us?
Casey, we're continuing to look into the Waterville Dam and the water that rests behind it, Waterville Lake. Again, a lot of people in Cott County, East Tennessee, will know this as the Walters Dam. Those names are interchangeable. What we know right now is what the Duke Energy website says is that spill gates are open at Waterville Dam, Walters Dam. Expect dangerous flow conditions downstream of Waterville Dam and Walters Hydro Station. That Walters Hydro Station is right there at the Haywood, North Carolina county line. It is right where all of the Hartford whitewater rafting groups put in for their whitewater rafting, just to give people an idea of just where this is at. Here's what we know about the lake that sits behind Walters Dam or Waterville Dam. Normal lake levels at full summer pool are 2,258.6 feet. According to Duke Energy's website right now, the current lake level as of 3:20 Eastern Time this afternoon was 2,360 feet. Again, that was at 3:20. Full pool, again for everyone, is 2,258.6 feet, and it's currently now sitting at 2,360 feet, according to Duke Energy's website. We have a call out to Duke Energy right now, who owns that dam. The person that I talked to on the phone said they had not heard anything about this, but said that they were reaching out to somebody who does, and they were going to have them get into contact with us here at WVLT immediately. Casey, we know this dam because it is what holds a massive amount of water behind it coming out of western North Carolina. We also know right now that parts of the Pigeon River from North Carolina on the North Carolina side have washed out Interstate 40 eastbound lanes. North Carolina Department of Transportation confirming that to me today. That happens when you have enormous amounts of water hitting up against the earth and washing out what is beneath that asphalt. What you're seeing right now is pictures rather, that we received from Duke Energy just about 2 years ago. First Alert meteorologist Ben Cathy and I did a series of stories on the health of the Pigeon River following years of it being polluted from a now defunct paper plant in North Carolina. Historically, there has been a lot of water that comes out of that area of North Carolina that pollutes the Pigeon River and flows into Cott County and through East Tennessee. It is cleaned up tremendously since really the 70s to get to where we're at now, where people whitewater raft. A lot of folks actually swim in that water. But what we know right now is this dam you're seeing, according to Cott County Mayor Rob Mathis, has reached a catastrophic failure stage, and they have demanded everyone in Newport to evacuate. Again, that's from Cott County Mayor Rob Mathis. Duke Energy owns that dam. We have checked in with them, and we are waiting to hear back on what they say has happened. But again, for everyone who might be familiar with fishing or water levels, as East Tennessee relies on water tremendously, normal summer pool at Waterville Lake behind Waterville Dam, or Walters Dam, as a lot of people know it as, full summer pool, typical level is 2,258.6 feet, and right now it is at 2,360 feet, according to Duke Energy. They say on their website, spillway gates are open. Expect dangerous flow conditions downstream of both Waterville Walters Dam and the Walters Hydro Station. Casey, Britt, we are continuing to dive into more about Waterville Lake and the Waterville Dam. We're trying to learn everything we can about it while we're waiting to hear back from Duke Energy. I'm going to throw it back to you all right now, but we're going to stay on top of this and learn as much as we can for the folks of Cott County and East Tennessee as we learn it.
On this WVLT First Alert Weather Day, some really good information from Will Puckett, some contextual knowledge, if you will, just showing us those pictures, giving us that information, providing some more insight on just how much water, because of what they're calling a catastrophic failure in the Waterville Dam, flooding parts of Newport and Cott County in the downtown area. You just heard there from Rob Mathis, the mayor, asking everyone in that area to evacuate immediately. This is breaking news that we're following for you, but also more breaking news connected to this enormous storm that's impacting East Tennessee. Knox County Sheriff's Office is just telling us that they have sent a helicopter from Knox County to Unicoi County. Casey, this is breaking news that you've been following for us, because we're learning at least more than 50 patients and staff at Unicoi County Hospital, who were trapped on the roof, and now Knox County helicopters departed to try to rescue them.
Yeah, and they left just a short time ago. This has been going on for a few hours now. That's upper East Tennessee near the Tri-Cities area, and they're also seeing a lot of the flooding. They got some of that band that came through, the really heavy flooding that also Asheville and Boone, North Carolina got as well, and we are seeing the effects of that as the rivers are now, all that water rushing downstream, and we're seeing these dams fail, and these evacuations are serious. If you live in these areas, you need to get to higher ground. This is a very serious situation. Now, we're also told that the state of Tennessee has issued a level 3 state of emergency. So that is out of 5 different levels right now. And a 3 means that a serious emergency or minor disaster has occurred. So that is a situation that they are keeping an eye on. These public warnings are being issued. These evacuations are being issued. You're taking a look now. This is the Hartford exit of Cott County, and this was just a few hours ago. Normally, that is a road. If you can see that stop sign in the far back there, you're seeing just how high that is going, this water. Now, there's nowhere to go here. There's no on-ramps, there's no off-ramps. I-40 in that area is closed. We're also hearing that there may be some deteriorating road conditions when it comes to what's underneath the water. Some of that possibly washed out. So we are trying to work with the officials here to get the latest information on that. But that is why it's so serious that you do not drive through any type of this floodwater because you don't know what's underneath there. And also, it only takes a few inches of water to completely wash a car away. We saw a dump truck earlier today, a very large dump truck actually try to help another car. This is in the Newport area, and actually got swept away a little bit by those floods. And that video, yeah, it's up right there. You're taking a look at it on our this is our Evan Lasik got this video earlier today, but look at that dump truck. It's a massive dump truck, but it's also all of a sudden losing control, kind of veering off a little bit, and it's just too dangerous. That's why these evacuations are so important, because this is record historic crests that we're seeing at both the Pigeon River and the French Broad River. This is something that we have not seen in a very, very, very long time.
And more breaking news, Casey, as you were just giving us that information, this just unbelievable video. More breaking news that just came into our newsroom moments ago. Knoxville, crews coming out of Knoxville going now to Carter County to assist in water rescues. Okay. So 8 swift water rescue technicians deployed from KFD, from Knoxville Fire Department, and 4 technicians from KPD, from Knoxville Police Department, and 3 boats all deployed now to Carter County, Tennessee, to assist in swift water rescues. So crews now, this is how this works, right? When, especially in East Tennessee, when there's somebody who needs trouble, there will be crews that get deployed to assist in these areas. And this is what we're seeing now. So more crews just moments ago getting deployed now to Carter County, Tennessee.
Well, and that's how you know it's significant, because here in Knox County, we didn't see the flooding like these other areas are seeing, but at one point there were 13,000 KUB customers without power today, and that's likely still a very high number. So those high winds did affect us, just like Spencer and Ben and Kyle and Jacob first alerted us to yesterday. So you know, when there's already things happening here in Knox County, they're handling that the best they can. But these situations in Cott County and some of these other counties, now county officials are calling it catastrophic. This is scary.
Yeah, it really is. And not only, you know, we saw several cars having to get pulled out of water yesterday. Even live on our air, crews were having to pull cars out of the water. Not only is this dangerous for folks who are trying to cross roads that have water, but also for the crews that are having to go in and rescue them. So this is something that we hear from first responders all the time, that this also puts those first responders in danger when they have to go into these situations, because that water is moving quickly. We don't know what it's doing underneath the water. It could be eroding the roads, which is what we're seeing here. But the word catastrophic failure, that really, that is really scary stuff. Right now, again, we cannot say this enough. Cott County, Tennessee, officially declaring a state of emergency. This is coming from the mayor, Rob Mathis. a state of emergency officially declared for Cocke County, Tennessee, which of course is the center of right now an immediate evacuation, an order coming from the mayor after a catastrophic failure from the Waterville Dam dumping an enormous amount of water, a scary amount of water into that area. So like you said, this is really scary stuff. This is really a serious situation, especially right now in Cocke County. We're going to get to our Jacob Durham in just a moment, who's tracking some more information for us.
And I think it's just important for everyone to take these warnings seriously. You know, when they say evacuate, it is important to evacuate. I think the good news, though, there is some positives to this. When we get to our weather team, First Alert meteorologist Jacob Durham, is that are we seeing the most of the rain already? Are we past kind of the worst of it? Is it going to get better?
Yeah, that's the good news. We're seeing some sunshine, in fact, and we'll kind of take a look across the rest of East Tennessee. The bulk of the rainfall that was from both the stalled front, the cold front that came through earlier this week, as well as Helene, is now lifting off towards our north. We still have some wraparound bands that could produce some light to moderate showers as we head throughout the afternoon and evening, but nothing to the magnitude of what we've been dealing with. Now, I'm going to show you the live radar. I've also got posted the flood warnings that we have out there. You can see a few light showers out there from time to time. Once again, very light in nature, not seeing much of any issues, but you can see the flood warnings there across portions of Sevier and Cocke counties. They also have a flash flood emergency for catastrophic flooding that does include Newport for that dam failure. I was looking at the National Weather Service chat. They're working on that breach scenario and what it could mean coming downriver. So once I get that information for you, I'll deliver that to you as soon as the National Weather Service gets that to us. It could be a couple of minutes, but just keep that in mind. Now, as we kind of take a little radar tour, things are fairly quiet out there for us. No major concerns in terms of rainfall, and you'll see even as we head down into the southern portions of the valley, just a few light showers, but that's about all we'll muster up through the rest of this evening. But I want to show you, here's a live look from Ober Mountain, a much different story than what we were dealing with earlier this afternoon, where we are dealing with a lot of sunshine, still some gusty winds out there as well. Let's head a little bit closer here and show you some of the wind gusts that we're dealing with. Still very strong. They're out of the southwest now. You'll see La Follette to Knoxville, both 35 miles per hour, and then increasing in intensity as you're kind of heading more so to the north. And these are going to probably stick around for another hour or so, and then we'll slowly see some improvements, but hour by hour rain coverage is looking much better for you as we head throughout the rest of the afternoon. So that is some good news that we are looking at. Rain totals still very, very impressive out there, and you can see there across portions of Cocke and Sevier counties, the radar estimates anywhere between, say, 5 to as much as 10 inches of rain have fallen. This is over the last 3 days, and accumulation's a little bit less over there, but I want to show you the Pigeon River forecast once again. Now, the National Weather Service once again working on that dam breach kind of a protocol and what it could mean as it heads downriver towards the Newport community. Here it is, still rising, 22.58 feet, forecasted to crest right around 23 feet later on tonight. French Broad River in Cocke County as well, continuing to rise, could be near record levels as well. But a lot of sunshine out there, that's the good news. But go ahead and give me the rest of that First Alert forecast for you this afternoon. Still dealing with very gusty winds, as we talked about, out of the south and southwest, as high as 35 to 40 miles per hour at times. We'll probably deal with this for another 1 to as much as 2 hours, and things will kind of get a little bit better. There is what is now tropical depression Helene, and that is going to continue to move off towards the west. In fact, it's just going to kind of sit there and meander and not move a whole lot. Winds are at 35, but still gusting upwards of 70 miles per hour at times. Futurecast, though, showing you some light to moderate rainfall kind of pushing in from time to time as we head through the overnight. Once again, shouldn't cause much of any issues, as rain totals will remain very, very light out there for you as we head into your Friday evening. Future rainfall amounts, generally speaking, anywhere between, say, 1/10 to maybe 1/4 inch of rain at best. So that's good news. The bad news is the damage has already been done in the fact that heavy rainfall has already come down across portions of the foothills and the mountains, and that's caused that catastrophic flooding that we're now seeing, unfortunately, across portions of Cocke and Sevier counties. Here's a look at future wind gusts through this afternoon, as we'll see those gusts anywhere between, say, 25 to 30 miles per hour at times. Winds are out of the south, and those will continue to be the case through the overnight hours. gusts, maybe as high as 30 miles per hour at times, but overall not looking too shabby as we head into tomorrow compared to what we're seeing today. So just keep that in mind. Things are improving. Things will get better. For tonight, 64 degrees, that low off and on showers and downpours. Sunrise coming tomorrow at 7:28. Here's a look at what we're dealing with in terms of futurecast for tomorrow. No first alert day tomorrow, just some light to moderate rainfall at times, so kind of a showery afternoon out there, and that will continue to be the case as we head through the afternoon. Once again, rain totals tomorrow, maybe a quarter to a half inch at most. Forecast where you live, though, it will be a little cooler. 72 Knoxville to 75 Pigeon Forge, upper 60s along the plateau. Sweetwater to Madisonville, both 69. Tellico Plains sitting at 70 degrees. 65 Wartburg to 65 in Jamestown. 66 Oneida to Stearns to 67 Williamsburg, and 72 in Kodak. Now, taking a look at that first alert 8-day planner, we are looking at temperatures back into the low 70s as we head both Saturday as well as Sunday, and then warming up into next week. Highly suggest having that WVLT first alert weather app handy with you today. Make sure to go ahead and have your location turned on, especially if you're in Cott County. That will give you the latest information as well as that WVLT News app as we're continuing to send out that information. But scattered showers lingering all the way into Monday.
Jacob, thanks.
Now, we do want to just recap if you're just joining us. We are, covering the emergency situation happening in Cott County. Emergency evacuations in place right now for anyone living in downtown Newport as the Waterville Dam has suffered a catastrophic failure. They want everyone to seek higher ground. It is not safe if you are in that area close to the Pigeon River or the French Broad River. Right now, crews are being deployed. We're getting new information now. Crews being deployed. Knox County Sheriff's Office is sending Air Rescue 6, that's a helicopter right now, to Unicoi County Hospital, where we are told more than 50 patients and staff members are trapped on top of a roof of a hospital. So Knox County crews sending a rescue team to save those people, to get them off of the roof. That is coming out of Knox County to Unicoi County. Then we have crews that are departed from Knoxville Fire Department and Knoxville Police Department. Swiftwater Rescue Technicians, 4 from KPD and 8 from KFD. They're sending 3 boats all to Carter County, Tennessee. If that didn't make any sense, Knox County and Knoxville both sending crews out now to Unicoi County and to Carter County, all now charged with making rescues on top of that hospital and for whatever the needs are right now in Carter County. And we're also still keeping an eye on Cott County, as we have not even seen how high the rivers are going to get yet. We do want to get to our Kristen Allen, who's keeping an eye on the roads. Kristen, we've seen a lot of roads closed in the Cott County area because of the high waters.
Yeah, dozens of roads closed at this point. I'm just learning from North Carolina's Department of Transportation. They say to consider all western North Carolina roads to be closed unless you are trying to seek higher ground. At this point, we are seeing a ton of closures out there. Let's take a look at some of those. Right now, of course, I-40 in Cott County is shut down because of flood waters all the way into North Carolina due to mudslides, landslides there because of those flood waters. Taking a closer look here, this is really where it starts up in Newport because of that flooding on those westbound sides. 415 is when they originally said that that was going to be cleared up, not forecasting that anytime soon. We are going to see those road closures continue. 40 westbound, the road closed from 451, which is Green Corner Road, to exit 435 at least. That's US 321. Again, a lot of these roads just completely wiped out at this point in the afternoon. So we'll continue watching that for you. Let's take another look here. If we can take Max 3 full. Right now, category is flooding here on that northbound direction there. This is on Tennessee 73 northbound. The road's closed from Edwina Bridgeport down to Caney Hollow Road. Now, TDOT is tweeting out right now some road closures across the state. I'm going to just read some of these off to you right now as we are seeing them. Right now, they're saying Cott County, this one we're looking at, Edwina Bridgeport Road, closed eastbounds on State Route 73. State Route 32, mile marker 13 to 18, closed in both directions. Folks, do not head toward the North Carolina line at this point in the afternoon. You could really see some issues out there. Taking another look here, you can see it is that northbound side that's really causing some issues. Again, I-40 in Cott County is shut down all the way through the gorge. Western North Carolina roads are considered to be closed. That's state routes and the interstate at this point. Guys, we'll continue to keep you updated on those road closures. Let you know when we see anything open back up. Do want to talk about Sevier County for just a second. State Route 339, State Route 73 from mile marker 2 to 4. Those are closed as well this evening. Casey, Brittany.
Kristen, thanks so much for keeping us updated on that. Now, we are working on getting the very latest information from our crews in Cott County. It is important that they are also getting to safety, and as soon as we do have them in a safe spot, we are going to hear from them. But there are several shelters set up this afternoon for anyone who needs them. We're told that the Newport Community Center is open, and the Liberty Church in Cosby is open as well, and I think that some of the schools are also opening up as a place for people to go as they are being evacuated here in Cott County.
I also was looking for that list right now. Is Jacob, that's who I was talking to right now, also giving us some information about TVA releasing any water. Jacob, do you know anything about those details there that you could share with us?
Yeah, I'll try to get in contact. I've talked with Derek Wynn before from the Tennessee Valley Authority, so from TVA, but he did post in our Weather Service chat that they're going to initiate spill at Douglas Dam and discharge about 42,000 CFS. So they're going to release quite a bit of water to kind of hopefully help bring that down and kind of mitigate some of the things that we are seeing currently with that dam failure there, that Waterville Dam, of course. So I will try to get in contact with them and see what they're going to say and see if we can't see if that helps downstream, and of course what that could mean here in East Tennessee as well.
All right, Jacob, that's good information. We'll continue to make those phone calls, see what that means, and then kind of piggybacking off of what you were just saying, Casey, we're covering several different counties, of course, each dealing with their own issues, but of course all of this regarding flooding and Helene making its way through East Tennessee. We have several schools and churches in Carter County that are also serving as shelters, but they're asking everybody, Carter County specifically, to stay off the roadways, and that kind of goes for a lot of folks who are in some of these more severe right now counties that are dealing with issues.
And that water is rushing fast. That's why it's so important to heed these warnings. Please, if you are in those areas of evacuation, you need to get to higher ground. We do have our crews in Cott County. They are in safe locations for us this afternoon. If we can now, I think our Sam Luther is ready for us. Sam, what are you seeing? Where are you first, and then what are you seeing?
Yeah, guys, we've spent the last half hour or so really just trying to talk to first responders, asking us, really trying to ask them where to go, because when we were getting there on scene a little around the 3 o'clock hour, interviewing people in the downtown Newport area, we were in the middle of interviewing, and then the sirens come through the main heartland of that downtown area, telling people to evacuate now. There has been a break in the dam, people scattering, running to their cars as quickly as they possibly could, getting anywhere but downtown Newport. So right now they've relocated kind of command central here to Cott County High School. It's just about a mile or so from where we were and where that trouble area is in downtown Newport, but it's just further away, a little up the hill from where the water and the river is. They feel like this is a safe enough area. Behind us are just a lot of crews on standby. So many cars, so many people with life vests on, a lot of rafts going towards the action right now, trying to get people to safety. Just talking with some people here over the last half hour or so, one gentleman told me that he's got a couple parents in their 80s that are just struggling to move. He is hopeful, trying to get a hold of anyone from 911. They are obviously very busy at the moment, trying to get to as many calls as they can. A lot of worried people right here in the Newport, Cott County area. As you see, crews really just been scrambling, trying urgently to get people out of that downtown area. It's a downtown area that really is the heart of Cott County. It's where the sheriff's office is. It's where the police department is. It's where a bank is. It's where the jail is. We heard that some inmates even had to get relocated from the jail for their safety as well at some point throughout the day. So certainly trying to get people as far away from the river as humanly possible. That's all stemming from that dam break that happened just a short time ago, guys. But again, we're out here still continuing to monitor, still trying to talk to people, get as much information as we can. You can be assured that we'll be out here trying to learn some more details here shortly.
Sam. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us on this WVLT First Alert Weather Day. We continue to follow breaking news and, of course, this weather pattern to make sure that you and your family stay safe. We're going to start with our First Alert meteorologist, Jacob Durham. Jacob, give us an update. What's going on here?
Yeah, so thankfully the rainfall has come to an end, but the damage has been done as we saw that stalled front across the region, that cold front that swept through, then stalled, and now the heavy rainfall coming from Helene, which is now a tropical depression as it's lifted off towards the north and the west. But we still could see a few wraparound showers, but the good news is rainfall not nearly as heavy as what we were dealing with earlier. In fact, you can see a little bit of that light rain kind of pop popping up as we speak. Now, looking ahead to what we're dealing with is some of those scattered showers and those flood warnings that are around the area. We'll kind of zoom in, show you what's going on right now. Most areas are continuing to look maybe some light showers from Stearns back over towards Williamsburg. We'll slide farther to the south and show you things are pretty quiet along the plateau as well. And then as we look over into portions of northeast Tennessee, this is the area that got hit very hard up towards Unicoi County. This is a flash flood warning that goes out until 5 o'clock. I know technically not in our area, but we do have a lot of friends, family, I'm sure, that are up in that area. That goes until 5 o'clock. And then as we slide farther to the south, we have those flood warnings out for severe in Cott County, flash flood emergency for Newport. And that's as, of course, the dam over in North Carolina has broke. And that's why we are continuing to track those evacuations across Newport. Temperatures, though, right now we're sitting back into the low 70s, 71 Knoxville to 81 in Sevierville. Look how warm it is across northeast Tennessee. That's where we've seen a lot of sunshine. 66 Oneida to Jamestown, 63 in Crossville, but we still are dealing with quite gusty winds. In fact, we've jumped back up to 41 miles per hour here in Knoxville, 16 Washburn to 26 there in Middlesboro to Harlan. 24 in Athens to 17 in Tellico Plains. We're kind of spinning right around the area of circulation of what's left of Helene, which is now a tropical depression. Good news is rain chances remain fairly low as we head through the remainder of this afternoon and this evening. We'll time it out for you. We do have some more rain chances in the first alert forecast, both Sunday as well as Monday and tomorrow. So we'll break that out for you here in just a few minutes.
All right. Appreciate you, Jacob. That is really helpful information as we continue to follow breaking news on top of this WVLT First Alert Weather Day. All of this, of course, connected as this, what they're calling a catastrophic failure in the dam. Casey, this is breaking news that you've been on top of really since the very beginning of this.
Well, so it's the Waterville, also known as the Walters Dam. This is not a small dam. I don't have the exact measurements, but I believe it's about 180 feet high. This is a very large dam that we have seen catastrophic failure now, according to Cott County Mayor Rob Mathis, and they have ordered a mandatory evacuation for everyone who's in the downtown Newport area. We do want to get to our Sam Luther, who was in that area when the crews came through to alert everyone to get to higher ground. Sam, we're glad that you're safe. What did you see?
You mentioned it there, and those words, mandatory evacuation, really couldn't be more true. A lot of times you hear guidance and suggestions to get out. This was far from it. You had sirens, lights, bullhorns coming through the heart of downtown Newport, telling people urgently several different times to get out. And you could tell by that urgency with how people reacted. This was no guidance and suggestion. They were running to their cars, running as far away from downtown Newport as possible. And we even heard at one point saying that in a couple hours that downtown they expect to be completely underwater. We were talking with some of the business owners down there just moments before that guidance came in. They were worried that water would make it to their doorstep, even possibly inside of their business. They now feel like that's inevitable as they continue to get as far away from downtown Newport as possible. It's a place where the police department, the sheriff's office, their courthouse, and even the jail, inmates having to be transferred out of that facility to a safer location farther away. It's just flat out a mess right now in downtown Newport. Right now, we have since located to Cott County High School, which is only about a mile or so away. It's just further away from the water, as you're starting to see it right now. If you're familiar with the area, guys, it's spilling over the train tracks, flooding really every surface road there in downtown Newport, which is a flood zone, which business owners said they knew that this day was possible. They just did not think it would be to this extent. We're obviously going to continue to be out here monitoring these conditions, letting you know really just sort of how bad it gets. A lot of crews on standby behind us with life jackets on, a lot of rafts going towards that water, trying to help anybody that's still in that area.
All right, Sam, thank you. That's really good information. Just a terrifying scene, thinking about people who are running to their cars, getting this notice about an hour ago, right? About 3 o'clock, we got word that dam had suffered failure, and we were notified that there was an immediate evacuation of that area. Actually called the mayor, Rob Mathis, to see if he could give us some, of course he's very busy right now dealing with this, but just trying to give us some insight, some more information that we can then pass along, trying to keep people safe. This is also stretching into Knox County, Knoxville, as crews are now deployed to go to some of these areas where they can use their resources. You saw that's kind of the command center where Sam Luther is right now, but also getting word from Knoxville Police, Knoxville Fire Department, Knox County Sheriff's Office, going out to different areas, but using their resources and their tools to help some of these folks who need the help.
Yeah, and here's the thing about downtown Newport is that it's flooded before. This has happened, but not like this. So the fact that people are heeding these warnings, running to getting to, shows you how catastrophic this situation is, and we can't get anywhere close to downtown Newport right now. No one should be close to downtown Newport unless, you know, they're trying to rescue someone, or we're working to get more details on that. But this is something that they are aware of that could happen. So hopefully these safeguards are in place, and hopefully these people have gotten to safety. We do now want to get to our Will Puckett, I believe.